In Culinary, a lot of women are written out, so you'll hear a lot of famous chefs saying, I was inspired by my grandmother or my mother, and then you never see the women in the industry. And so I wanted to find a space that was safe enough for us to support women to be in the industry. It's not just for us to sort of do the free work and labor at home and not get paid for it, but I really wanted a space that allowed us to tell our stories.
Where are we today?
We are at Midunu Chocolates.
Hello everybody and welcome to another Jama episode. I'm very excited today because we are going to be talking to one of the most famous Ghanaian chefs, world-renowned chefs, Mrs. Selassie Atadika. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. And I want to know what Midunu means.
It's Eve. It's a short form of Va Midunu, which means come, let's eat.
Ooh.
So that's what we came.
That's where we came. Some chocolates. So Maria has told me a lot about your chocolate and yourself, but for the few people that don't know you, can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Okay, I'm a chef and sort of like a food advocate. So I'm really passionate about our food system and the flavors that come from the continent. I'm a savory and a sort of a sweet chef as well. So I sort of do a lot of cooking, and through that I got to know a lot about the different spices, ingredients from around the world, and particularly from Africa. And I wanted to find a way to integrate them into chocolate. I figured chocolate is what people know, and the spices. Exactly, yeah. And the flavors from around the continent, sometimes people don't know them so well, and I'm trying to find a way to bring them together. And we make the chocolates here in Ghana, so it's not really cocoa from Ghana, but chocolate made here in Ghana.
You use the cocoa pods from Ghana, everything from Ghana?
Everything is made in Ghana. The only thing is that there's some dairy that comes from outside, but basically the cocoa is from Ghana, the spices are from Ghana, and the team here is a team of women that make the chocolates.
Wow.
Team of women?
Yes.
Only women?
Only women.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that?
Because in the gastronomy space, in Culinary, a lot of women are written out, so you'll hear a lot of famous chefs saying, I was inspired by my grandmother or my mother, and then you never see the women in the industry. And so I wanted to find a space that was safe enough for us to support women to be in the industry. It's not just for us to work, sort of do the free work and labor at home and not get paid for it, but I really wanted a space that allowed us to tell our stories.
Oh, wow.
I want to know as well, how did you take the decision, because you were living in the US, to come back here?
I was actually living in Senegal.
Oh, wow.
So my family, we left Ghana years ago. I grew up in the US, and then I started working for the UN. I traveled to over 40 African countries, and I ate really amazing food, got to know all these ingredients, but I was living in Senegal, and I just said to myself that I do feel that there's a lot of transformation that can happen in the world, and it's linked to food. So food, what and how we eat can truly, I believe, change the economy. So when we think about food, it's the question is who's growing the food? What are we eating? What are the importation laws around all these ingredients? And how do we put more money in the hands of smallholder farmers? And so for me, that was really important. And so Midunu is really a space where we create dining experiences that highlight the work of these smallholder farmers. And for me, the idea behind what we do is really value these ingredients and make sure that people are consuming those ingredients, therefore putting more money back in that economy. So I always say it's culture, community, and cuisine that's intersecting with environment, sustainability, and the economy. So if we're eating what grows here in Ghana, then we're putting money back into the Ghanaian economy.
So what do you have planned for us today?
Well, I would love for you guys to taste some of our chocolates. So for this season, it's the Luxe collection. So it's like dried fruits, it's beautiful spices, it's really celebrating the end of the year. A few of them have alcohol in there, so it's like we're celebrating. So
I'm try.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, I'm very confused and very excited.
So don't get overwhelmed.
Okay.
I think the first thing to do is maybe we'll first talk flavor.
Okay, cool.
So maybe you can take a look at this, the flavor wheel.
Can you see?
Okay.
Yeah. So I call this a flavor wheel, and so whenever you taste something, there should be some kind of flavor that it's giving you. We've broken it down into some of the more common ones.
Wow.
Okay, so maybe fruity. If you think about fruity, maybe you're thinking about berries, you're thinking about maybe citrus, maybe dried fruits, maybe something tropical, maybe something tart. So those are kind of like the different flavors.
Okay.
Then there's vegetal. So some of it could be sort of herbaceous. So like the local herbs or just like mint.
Rosemary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could also be something brined, like a pickle or something like that. Then there's creamy. So if you're thinking about toffee, molasses, milk, cream, exactly. Then there's nutty. So there's specific nuts that you're probably thinking about: cashew nut, like ground nuts or peanuts, hazelnuts. Then there's spicy. Spicy can come in black pepper, cinnamon, right?
Cloves.
Then you also have floral. So floral, I'm thinking sort of like lavender, orange blossom water. Maybe if you're thinking about Ghana, you're thinking about sobolo or like hibiscus, and those kind of flavors. So before we even start the process of chocolate, what I have in front of you are cocoa nibs.
This one?
Yes, and so that if you just take a little like piece of that, that's like the bean that's been just dried and roasted lightly.
Oh.
So that's like the natural, but it's like, what would you say are the flavors that you're getting from that?
It's like almond or something.
So it's nutty. You're getting nuttiness.
nutty,
Yeah. You're getting maybe a little bit bitter, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the natural form and the state of cacao. Okay. So to make chocolate, then they take that. They're adding into it a little bit of maybe sugar, right? They're adding into it, maybe if it's milk chocolate,
It's giving
milk.
dark chocolate.
Exactly. So dark chocolate, if you ever had a dark chocolate bar, they might say it's a 70% dark chocolate.
Exactly.
It means it's like 70% this.
Yeah.
And then 30% sugar and something else. So that's kind of what like dark chocolate is all about.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna taste, and there's like all of these things that are happening when you taste. And I wanted to break it down a little bit. So there's gonna be the texture of the chocolate. The texture of the chocolate could be sort of what you kind of feel on your tongue. The texture of the chocolate could also be what you feel with your hands, because sometimes chocolates can be like rolled truffles. There's what the chocolate looks like. So if you look at a dark chocolate, you're going to see a dark brown. A milk chocolate, it's going to be a lighter brown, right? And sometimes maybe you've seen chocolate that looks a little ashy, like it needs a little lotion. So what is that? So that's when chocolate has had too much heat and the cocoa butter comes out and is sitting on top. So what you see, that white is like cocoa butter. That's kind of, it's not bad. It's just that, it's had some heat and it was a little bit warm and the cocoa butter came out.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start with the first one. And I've also kind of put them from lightest flavor to more intense flavor. So we're starting with the like chilled flavors right now.
I actually like the patterns.
Thank you. So all of those have been like inspired by different textiles from around the continent. So the first one is actually, I'll tell you about it later because I don't want to give a hint about what the flavor is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and for the first flavor, the blue one.
This one.
So what you want to probably do is, I would suggest like kind of biting halfway through.
Okay.
And then that way like mulling it around on your tongue. And then if you need more, you can go for a second bite. And then we can talk about it. So the chocolate is like, it's got a dark chocolate shell, and then inside is a filling. So I'm wondering, can you kind of guess what is inside?
I know it's creamy.
Definitely
Okay.
creamy.
Yeah.
But fruity too?
I don't know. Is that your final answer?
No.
I feel like I'm losing already.
So I've already given you a hint. The outside is a dark chocolate shell.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and then the filling on the inside, you're getting creamy. Anything more specific from the creamy that you're getting hints
I
of?
think it's... No, I can't. Is it like a fruit from Ghana?
It's not a fruit.
Oh.
So you're getting creamy. You should be getting caramel notes.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a salted caramel. There's a bit of salt in there. So this one we've taken, it's a desert salt caramel.
Oh, wow.
And so we're using salt from the Kalahari desert in southern Africa. So that's what we have used for this one.
Oh, it's so nice.
Thank you.
I don't know why I thought it was like...
What's the
giving
name?
me...
I actually I can't pronounce the name. It's named after a woman from the San tribe, and so she's someone who did a lot of documentation about their culture, and it's written, and so we wanted to name it after her just to honor her work. So maybe you're getting some fruitiness. There's a little bit of vanilla in there, so maybe that might be the notes that you're getting. So if you want, you can take a sip of water or a bite of the apple, and then we can refresh our palate. So the design on that is the blue pattern, is the shui shui pattern. It comes from well, it's a textile that they use a lot in Southern Africa. During the apartheid period, they actually forced Black South Africans to wear that as part of their uniform.
Oh, wow.
But now in independence, it's actually seen as a sign of empowerment. So it's actually, they're taking the narrative back and wearing it.
Reclaiming their power.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
So next, yes, I'm not going to tell you the design until we're done, but we can go ahead and taste the next one, the pink one.
Same thing.
Yes, I would kind of do half of it. Are you okay? Yeah? Are you enjoying it? Yeah? Okay.
I'm getting
Spicy.
There should be spicy, yes.
anise. No.
There is something like star anise, yeah? I hope that you're also getting maybe some tartness. The tartness is actually coming from hibiscus. So this one is actually hibiscus or sobolo.
Yeah.
And it's infused with different spices as well. So it's kind of like a warm, spicy. If
For me, this is Christmas.
Exactly. So I was gonna say, if you know, like sort of like a spiced, like they call it glug in some parts of the world. It's like a spiced, warm red wine that someone would have. So for me, this is part of our Christmas collection because it's like it's some that warm spices. It's got that tartness, and you know, it just, for me, it's really holiday celebration.
So cozy, so warm.
Exactly. Thank you. So that one is called ruka. And the design on that is actually inspired by the adire patterns. So that's a Nigerian fabric textile. So it's the tie and dye that comes from Nigeria. So we've used that pattern to inspire the design on the truffle.
Okay.
Yeah, so another bite of apple or a little sip of water to get ready for the next one to cleanse your palate. What are you getting?
Take it. I'm getting alcohol, coconut.
There's alcohol, yes?
There's no coconut.
No.
Hey. I was so sure.
Yeah,
There is fruit. Dried fruit.
There is dried fruit. Yes.
Yeah.
And date.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. All right, this is the last one.
Smoky. Definitely.
All right,
Why
so
am I getting cumin?
Earthy.
you can go back to your wheel. What you're getting spicy.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, what spices do you think you are getting? You said cumin,
Yeah.
and I agree, cumin is in there.
Really?
It's one of the spices in
Well,
there.
I'm very good. I was really thinking I would be trying chocolates and I have no idea.
Yeah. So this one is actually inspired by actually Southern Africa. So this is Cape Malay curry. So this is a Cape Malay curry blend. So we actually blend that curry in-house, but it's got cumin, it's got coriander, it's got cinnamon leaf from our garden, and a few other things. But yeah.
Wow.
So this one has the heat, so that's why we had it last. So whenever we're tasting chocolate, we always recommend you kind of do it as a flight, like the way you would do wine or the way you would do other things, where you have the lighter flavors first so that your palate can receive it and taste it. So if you started with the curry, by the time you go back to the salted caramel, it might be a challenge. So yeah, so
I
that's,
really loved it though. It has a kick.
yes.
It has a kick. I really liked it though.
And I think that for us, we feel that the chocolate stands up to it. So we have the 70% dark chocolate, but then you kind of have a little pushback with the curry and the spices that we use.
Wow.
So I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, a lot.
Any favorites?
Yes.
Which one was yours?
Actually, I like them all. I really cannot say I have a favorite. I like them all.
They're all nice to be honest.
So I hope you enjoyed.
Yay!
Yeah?
I really loved it. Honestly, I wasn't expecting I would find the flavors.
Really?
I was expecting
But
I
you
would be
did
very
well, though.
bad at it.
No, but I think I would say maybe often in Ghana we're kind of like swallow, like you just kind of chew and you don't really chew and savor, you're swallowing. So it's really I love it because it forces you to slow down and take time and actually re-engage with your palate, right? And try to just think through what are you tasting.
Yeah. No, I really loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank
you made
you.
the Christmas so special.
Alright guys, we've come to the end of this amazing chocolate tasting. Honestly, I'm not a chocolate person, but I loved every bit of this experience. In fact, I can't even describe how I taste things, but you see, with this wheel, I could like, oh my god, this is earthy. Oh my god, this is floral.
Actually, you do the tastings as well.
Yeah,
so
we
if
do.
somebody
Yeah.
wants to do what we did, you can actually contact them. We'll put
We'll put it on the screen for you to be part of this experience. It's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Christina. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let's know what you think about this whole experience. Until next time, bye.